What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another tier list where this month we are doing Xbox consoles versus PlayStation consoles. The best of all time.
Basically what I think kind of grading my tiers on is going to be a mix of some of the games, the overall like user experience, and honestly just personal feelings. Like, iterations also factor into,
So like pro models.
so like PS4 and PS4 Pro, and then Xbox One, Xbox One S, and then Xbox One X. That all gets factored into where they end up on our tier list. So, but at one point or another, I've owned all of these consoles, so
So
I feel pretty good about that.
I guess my question, does Series X and Series S go together? Are we pairing those up?
Yes, yeah,
Rules. How many S tiers do we get?
one S tier each. We're starting with Xbox 360.
Mm, I think honestly A.
Yeah, I have it at A too. Yeah, what reasons do you have it up at an A?
So all my core gaming memories for the most part come from this. Like the Black Ops games, uh weirdly enough, never Halo, never Gears of War.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, with this console, I mean, the PlayStation 3 technically was stronger in raw power, but it was more challenging to develop for. Most third-party games played better on Xbox 360, and when I picked Xbox 360, it was they get Call of Duty stuff first. Skyrim played better on, which I played Skyrim first on Xbox
yeah.
360. But yeah, most of my like pretty important memories and impressions on video games happened on this console. Obviously, it had issues with like the Red Ring of Death and stuff, but I personally never got it, and
I didn't
my
either.
overall experience was just okay. Next, PS2,
Yep.
absolutely yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
undoubtedly. I mean,
Yeah.
in
That's not
my
even. Yeah.
eyes, yeah.
This is the greatest console of all time.
I'm willing to have a conversation about that. But the most impressionable, like this console, the games on this console are what made me fall in love with video games.
Oh yeah.
They had undoubtedly the best sports games. NFL 2K5, the street games
Oh yeah.
were undefeated on here, and then on top of that, you had Kingdom Hearts. You had
Kingdom Hearts 2 specifically when that came out on this.
right. Guitar Hero came out, Tony Hawk's, the best Tony Hawk games in my opinion, the underground games. There was just
The
so much that came out for this.
the peak of like, not that you played it, but Dynasty Warriors 2 through 5. All of those on PS2.
All the
Incredible.
SmackDown versus Raw series,
Oh my
even this,
god. Yeah.
just the regular SmackDown games, they just like, yeah, absolutely belongs S tier. Original Xbox. Did you own one of these?
Nope.
Okay, I will put the original Xbox at a B. And this mostly is because Halo. Like, I don't know if Halo 2 ever left the Xbox that I owned. It's weird because I genuinely don't have a lot of memories with other games, but I remember playing these games with my cousins, with my brothers, stuff like that. So, I think it belongs at a B for PlayStation 1.
Um shit. I want to say A. Part of me wants to use my S, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna put in A. PS1, that was the first console I ever owned. Uh and so it kind of is what made me love gaming.
I mean, plus you had Crash, Spyro,
Shrek the
um,
movie,
Shrek the movie, Twisted
bro.
Metal.
Legend of Dragoon,
There's just so many classics, and I didn't play it at the time, but Final
it
Fantasy
was incredible.
7.
Silent Hill
Um,
1,
you have Metal Gear Solid, another series that isn't my
Splinter
favorite, but
Cell.
it's there. But there, yeah, just so many god tier games. Okay, next up we have the Xbox One. I'm putting this at a C. And that's generous, in my opinion. So I kind of was going back and forth with this a little bit. I thought this had a chance to be the only one at a D, but I think the One X and Game Pass towards the end helped bring this from a D to a C, and it had honestly two of my favorite games ever now in the Ori series. And then although the Master Chief Collection launched as a disaster, they ended up getting it together and ended up being a really fun time and getting to experience those games again remastered. Yeah, I think they ended up starting to get their shit together, and now momentum pushed into this next generation.
I think I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because when
I hated mine.
obviously, or when this thing launched, it was like a dunk fest. You know, PS4 was obviously the console to get, and it ended up selling like 2.5 times more than it, or something like that. Okay, PS3. Did you own PS3?
Nope.
This had a similar vibe to the Xbox One, where it's like, what were you thinking with some of these decisions? But you can't ignore some of the exclusives that it had, and just Uncharted and The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And the Ratchet and Clank games were great. So
That's like B minus.
yeah, I'm gonna go C. I'm gonna be pretty fair. Just because outside of those experiences,
Mid.
yeah, I just everything played better on 360. 360 was the place to be. Yeah, I don't really have too much else to say. My time spent with my PlayStation 3 was very, very, very short because of the next console, PS4, which you would rank at.
This is tough, pal. This is tough. I think I'm gonna put this at S tier.
I didn't have faith in you, but you
Thanks.
exceeded my expectations with this one. I really, really wanted this to be S, and when we were talking about the greatest console of all time, I think the PS4 has a place in that
I
conversation.
mean, dude, you're talking The Last of Us Remastered, Last of Us Part 2, Uncharted 4, uh, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War 2018,
Yeah,
like
Spider-Man.
just heavy hitters left and right.
Yeah. So I would say that the PS2 had a much broader offering of games, but
Yeah.
they like honed in on what they wanted to do, and they did it so fucking perfectly. And
If you
I just the games that I played on PlayStation 4 are going to it's going to be as memorable for me as looking back on some of the PlayStation 2 games that I played.
There are very few games that I've replayed in my life. Most of them come from the PS4 that I replayed on the PS5.
Yeah.
But
Uh-uh.
which is that's where the tough part comes in because uh, I guess we jumping into the next one. But if PS5 had been out for another year, I think that I'd put that in S tier instead.
So it's hard to be like, because the Series X like has all of those experiences, all of the like not all of the original Xbox, but like a lot of the experiences from Xbox 360, all of the experiences from Xbox One. You can experience those, but the experiencing these games for the first time and playing and falling in love with these for the first time, that's what makes them like my first playthrough of The Last of Us is more memorable. I still love it to death, but is more memorable than the fourth time that I replayed it
Yeah.
on PS5 and stuff. So that's why I just think that that's the PS4 belongs there, because I really do think that these games are going to hold up better in 15 years. Yeah.
It's like PS2 in the sense that like all those memories like way into it.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I think when we're looking back on this 15, 20 years from now, I think we're going to have very similar memories of when we are looking back now at like the 360 and the PS2. PlayStation 5, I am going to put this at an A.
Yeah.
Something that we haven't really talked about, but and I guess in the back of my head I've been factoring in, is controllers.
Oh, DualSense is the greatest controller of all time.
Yeah, in terms of immersion and stuff, it 100% is. I like when I'm playing multiplayer games now. Obviously, I've gotten used to having like the back triggers, but the feel, the build, you know, all of the features that it has is just so goddamn good. And yeah, I think so far, Horizon Forbidden West, we had Returnal, Ratchet and Clank again. These games were just so far
Miles
have been
Morales.
bangers. Yeah, they have been bangers. So, and then on top of that, we'll talk about it with Xbox, I'm sure, but the speeds and the power of it all, like load times, like that is such a
Yeah.
huge thing that I don't think a lot of people were thinking about before, because console players have always just had hard drives. But yeah,
Well,
I
I mean,
just
yet the lack of load screens, and I guess both of them, is incredible.
yeah. And then obviously PlayStation, like getting to experience the PS4 games all over again, and honestly breathing new life into them. Some of the director's cuts that we've gotten, just the Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding, have been really cool. Some of the DLC has been really great. So I've really liked what PlayStation's doing. Obviously, understanding that the first year and a half or so was affected so much by COVID. But now it kind of feels like we're gonna start getting back into that rotation of new IPs and the experiences that we're kind of used to, and potentially getting to that PS4 status where we're going to be putting this up in an S tier, and by the end of this generation, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think, in my honest opinion, this is going to be the next PS2 for me.
I hope so. All right, so you get to finish this off with the Xbox Series X. Where do you put this? Slash S. Where do you put this, John?
I put it at like a B plus.
Okay, no, that's about what I was thinking too.
So here's the thing. I don't. My biggest thing with PlayStation is they have games. That's why you get certain consoles for games. Game Pass is incredible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but there hasn't been anything that's made me want to sit and just dial into like Xbox. There hasn't been anything released on Game Pass that's really drawn me in the last like however many months. The controller's the exact same. It's just a faster um Xbox One to
More
me.
powerful, yeah. No, I agree. I agree with the B. I think this has the potential to end up at the A tier just because
Yeah.
of um they bought all these studios back in 2018, seemingly, like I think they were hoping to have some more games ready by now, but they just haven't. The games are going to come and we're going to see how they are, but for now we just don't know. But yeah, I getting to experience a lot of the games that I haven't played, indie games and stuff like that. Like Game Pass is the reason that it's at a B right now.
It's like if you put like a nice touchscreen radio inside like a broken down 1985 Chevy, you know? Like it looks pretty, but who gives a shit?
I think that's a little harsh, but there you go.
Nothing in D.
Yeah, turns out video games are pretty dope. Looking at this, I feel pretty good about it. Like,
We do share the same brain cell.
yeah, a single one.
There's no
Consoles.
console wars except for PlayStation dominates four of the top 5 spots.
All right. Until the next video, guys, stay horny, stay hydrated. Peace.